WGL HD3 Philadelphia, a radio.com station. Now, live from the Malamut and Associates Law Studios. Welcome to Style Club Radio with Philadelphia's own Josh DeMarco, an international star who's reshaping the men's grooming business around the world.
Men's grooming is more than just hair, right? It's you know, there's a great saying, and it's so simple. It really is so simple. If you look good, you feel good, you do good.
The co-host of Style Club Radio, it's Philly's superstar of design and self-proclaimed creator of tomorrow's unique style, Steve Sanchez.
You know what I mean? So it's basically a head-to-toe look. So with your clothes, your hairstyle, the facial hair, however you like carry yourself, you know, it's your accessories, all of that kind of has to go together.
This is Style Club Radio with Josh DeMarco, Steve Sanchez, Michelle Miller, and friends from around the fashion globe. Presented by True Beauty Concepts, one of Philadelphia's most iconic providers of everything style. And now, Style Club Radio. Style Club Radio.
Welcome, Philadelphia, to the Style Club Radio. I am here with my co-host, an amazing co-host, Steve Sanchez.
Hey, hi listeners, welcome to the show. And I want to introduce our beautiful host,
on-air producer extraordinaire,
and Michelle Miller.
Hi, everyone.
Hey guys, good to see you. It's been a week. How have you guys been?
Well, I live with you, so you know that I've been good. I'm always good. How about you, Steve?
Yeah, all's been good. I mean, I'm really excited, one, that the weather's starting to shift. It's so nice that the humidity is like
layering season is almost on us.
Yes.
Sweater weather.
And I've got some really good tips later on that has to do with the weather shifting. But I've been...
Side note, your hair looks great, Steve. Steve is fully platinum, no roots. Looks amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, looks great.
The haircut, thanks to you.
Yeah, this old guy. But the color is amazing, and it looks great. It looks nice and fresh.
Thank you. Appreciate that. But there was something I kind of wanted to talk about I just discovered this app. It's called TikTok.
Yeah.
Probably late to the game.
I love that you said that was like the most old man thing ever. I just discovered TikTok. So, I'm like all the young kids have known about it already.
Oh, yeah. My age is, comes through sometimes.
It totally does.
But
So tell us about TikTok. So funny enough, Steve, one of the guys I work with, Evan the barber, has been telling me about TikTok coincidentally for like the last 2 weeks. I'm so good with Instagram. I do not need another app to try to conquer or to not conquer. What's what I'm looking for? I don't need anything else to put my energy and time into.
Yeah.
TikTok, as far as I know, it's some kind of new version of Vine.
Well,
right?
I don't know. I didn't do Vine back in the day, but it's basically like small videos that people post. But I guess
a lot of lip syncing.
Yeah, and they can dub music to it, or it's like a lot of they can there's like different effects that they can do. It's really entertaining. You don't actually have to try to conquer it.
It's the fastest growing social media for younger people too. Like imagine being able to lip sync your favorite song or a scene from a movie. I mean, it gets really entertaining and fun, but.
So creativity is key in TikTok.
Yes, but it's also, beyond that, where they're showing like a lot of people are playing pranks on people. Like there's just one guy that I follow, he's really funny. He does like pranks in Walmarts to customers while they're shopping.
I like that.
It's entertaining. You don't actually I don't post really. I haven't yet because I'm so new to it, but it's just really entertaining. I love it.
It's interesting that people become Insta famous or social media famous. Meanwhile, there are social media platforms that come and don't last. So you put all this energy, creativity, and effort into this platform, and then the platform dies, and then what are you? Like Vine was huge, and all these people. I mean, it just kind of got eaten up the second that Instagram
did video,
incorporated video, and it changed everything for Vine. And so it's interesting now that you have TikTok, and all these kids are talking about TikTok, but what is the payoff?
The question is, will TikTok dethrone Instagram? You heard it here first. No.
That's because Josh is heavily invested in Instagram. It's like his whole life. But
I mean, it is there's a lot of young people on it. It is pretty diverse,
very young, though.
Which has changed. No, when I'm going through the feeds, it's mostly I would say, probably younger people, but there have been a lot of newer like people on it that I've, and a lot of celebrities are catching on or TV personalities.
Instagram has some user guidelines. You have to be like 13 and older. I think TikTok, some of their users are even younger. And I read some really disturbing stuff about child predators kind of going into TikTok asking horrendous things to younger kids, saying that they have to prove how young they are by showing themselves in certain. Oh, it's not a joke. I think like we're in a very, very.
What is Jeffrey Epstein running TikTok?
Oh my god!
Oh my god! That's horrible. Yeah. From the grave, R.I.P.
Well, there is a side of that where there's a lot of like a lot of skin showing on a lot of people. Like as you're going through the feeds, I just kind of usually pass through those, but it's interesting that you say that because I'm sure that's a problem. But
I mean, I think our security in general as people engaging with our smartphones and now having all of these new platforms, it's like who's running the platforms? What kind of security measures are there? How much access do they have to us at this point in time? Like now we have Facebook, that's the number one kind of social media in the world and with the most resources and the most money, and they can't even keep us safe. Like I find that lately more and more I'm more bothered by it than I've ever been. Like I'll have discussions with my phone near us. And
well, what did you say last night about your phone? You said go on private browsing because every single thing you Google instantly ends up in your social media feed. And it gets kind of creepy when it's everything.
But now it's also the things that I've been talking about. And like, how does that make you feel safe? And then people are so invested in these platforms that they keep yes-ing to all the user agreements. And meanwhile, they're like sucking everything out of our phones and in our lives and using the data for what? And who are they? They're not American companies. They're, all over the world. And that's
Russia
and China.
Yeah.
And
but I also think
it's scary.
Like it kind of goes a little deeper than that. Than if that's like such an issue. I mean, even with adults, but young kids and predators. I mean, with parents now giving their kids phones at such a young age.
It's terrifying.
Right, it's terrifying.
I mean, parenting now, and we do not have children, but I couldn't even imagine how scary it really is. I mean, honestly, we used to have AIM, right?
Yeah.
And you would do like a chat, and if someone picked up the phone, you got booted off.
Yeah.
Now you can reach anyone in the world in the click of a button, and it's like, who knows? Our data isn't safe.
Yeah.
The only people, guys, by the way, really keeping your data safe is Apple. So just so you know that.
Well, but even with that, you have this Apple phone that encrypts all these other things in your lives. But guess what? Once you start using apps and platforms like Facebook, TikTok, and other things, you are opening a portal to exposing yourself to other things. And that's like really scary. And people are not.
Yeah, I think a really important. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, I don't think people understand the severity of what's going on. You like live your life and you think, oh, autonomously, who cares if they know little bits of info about you or me, or little old me? But it's like, it's a much, much bigger problem where they're infiltrating all kinds of things, and then you become part of collective data.
Well, it's also interesting to me because I noticed that I had to reboot my phone because I was having phone issues. So I basically erased the whole thing and started as if I got a new phone.
Oh, nice.
And they now ask you questions that when I first got the phone, they didn't ask.
Oh.
Like if your information could be used for like research and algorithms.
Research,
Right. And you can say no, but I never was asked that before.
Right.
So you wouldn't know to go to certain places to for privacy and select these certain things because they're not explained, but now they explain it.
Yeah.
So it's very, very interesting.
I mean, the United States alone, I mean, I read this recently. Europe doesn't give these options Europe gives options that we're not given. So we sign up for Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is.
But it's about legislation.
Well, of course it is. But that's that's a whole show in itself.
Yeah.
So it's like, use social media. Social media is a great benefit to your career, to your social life, to many of different things. It can really help, but you have to kind of realize that you are also, by allowing that into your life, you're also giving up privacy.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. So I guess the moral of the story is parents or adults, just be careful and make sure you check all your privacy settings. And for children out there and parents of children, also make sure that their settings are set
I mean, I think we
correctly.
just like all have to be a little bit more aware that like we are vulnerable, and it is an absolute asset and a tool and a blessing in so many ways to have access to the entire world and
Right.
people in the entire world, and expose yourself in great ways to the entire world. But at the same time, you are also exposing yourself to the entire
Yep.
world. And to understand like what that duplicity means for you and your career, and be smart about what you're putting
Absolutely.
out there.
And you know, look, we've dove into like social media and why privacy is important, but what's really important to me is real relationships with real people. And
Humans?
Yeah, humans.
Right.
You know, we forget that actually exists. And tonight we have I'm probably the most excited I've ever been to interview somebody. We are going to sit down with, I'm not even going to tell you guys who after the break, but stay tuned. We have an amazing food guest coming in. It happens to be probably it is my favorite restaurant in Philadelphia.
And you've heard him talk about it on the show
All the
countless
time.
times.
Yes.
All the
Yes.
time.
I
I'm
know
actually
what
going
your
to start
favorite is.
billing them for advertising.
Yes, right?
Our producer Joe is like nodding his head. Yes, you are.
Yes.
Yes, you are. The
So,
bill is coming.
Listen, at Style Club Radio with Josh DeMarco, Steve Sanchez, and Michelle Miller is going to be back right after these words.
This is Style Club Radio with Josh DeMarco, Steve Sanchez, and Michelle Miller.
All right, everyone. If you are listening on your radios, you could actually be watching us right now on @Style Club Radio on Facebook, and you could be interacting with us @Style Club Radio on Instagram.
You can, and Michelle, thanks for that. But right now we are back with arguably my favorite duo in Philadelphia.
They don't even know it yet.
Yeah, they don't know
how
it.
much you love them.
I may have just met them recently, but guys, if you know me, I mean, we've actually given your restaurant so many shout-outs.
Yes, we have.
legitimate because of my love for the Dandelion. I can't let it go any longer. We are sitting with Kareem McCafferty, the GM of Dandelion, and Liam Geoghegan, the executive chef of Dandelion.
Woohoo!
And
Welcome.
And welcome, guys. Thank you for being on
Thank
the
you.
show. We
Thanks
really
for
do
having us.
appreciate it. Besides being probably the most beautiful restaurant and building in the city, from the outside to the inside, I mean, it's gorgeous. We want to know more about you guys. I mean, I love the burger. I talk about the burger. We love Dandelion. So I don't know who wants to start. Kareem, maybe you want to start? And
Sure.
just tell us a little bit about you, how you got into this industry.
Sure.
And just how it is running a restaurant.
Sure. Keep it brief. The short story of it is I bartended all throughout college. That's kind of how I supplemented my income for college, and I worked there for a bit. Then I kind of worked in my major once I graduated, which was I was a geoenvironmental studies major. I realized that it wasn't something that I necessarily wanted to do. I wasn't necessarily passionate about it. Always went back to having that passion for food and for beverage. And I never really saw bartending. I never really saw working in restaurants as work. And it goes by the old saying, find a job you love, you never work a day in your life, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So I got back into bartending, and I realized that not that there's anything wrong with being a bartender long term, but I kind of wanted to move up in the ranks, and started working with Star Restaurants about 4 years ago. Transitioned from beverage manager at Butcher and Singer. Worked for Morimoto for a little bit. Then I went to Park. I was at Park for 2 years, and I was the assistant general manager there. And then about 4 months ago, I moved over to the Dandelion.
Oh, nice. So this
it's
is
been great.
new.
Yeah, it's about 4 months so far. So
Congratulations.
Congrats. That's
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
You did
I appreciate
look familiar, so I probably have seen you at Park.
Probably.
Steve is a regular.
Probably
Yes.
running through the restaurant.
Well, I'm a regular of most of the restaurants.
He just doesn't leave 18th Street.
Right.
He gets his haircut here, he eats all his meals, lives here. The guy
Right.
can't go past
Perfect.
18th.
Very true. And Liam, how about you, man? You make effing banging food. You really do.
Awesome.
Your food's incredible.
Thank you. A little bit different story. I started cooking when I was 16. Food was always a big thing around the kitchen table and all that. I had an opportunity to work at a restaurant, and I had two chefs that were very supportive and really pushed me. I would go to school, run track, and I'd have a list of things I had to prep every day, and they would like, make sure you still have your running shoes on because you're in the weeds. Like, you better keep moving because you can't stop or go home until you're done. And they pushed me. I moved up in 3 years, like through high school, worked every station in there. Worked in New York for a few years, found myself in Philly, and I've been at the Dandelion since 2010.
And when did Dandelion open?
New Year's Eve 2010 into 11.
So that burger, you are the guy that's been making that burger for me for 9 years.
I've cooked a couple.
Nice.
Well, that actually makes the a light bulb went off, and I have a question now. So explain exactly to the listeners, and it may sound stupid, what an executive chef does, because some people may think that you're just telling everybody what to do, or are you like hands-on, or are you actually making the food?
It's a lot of it.
A lot of it?
Dandelion's a special place. I'm the fourth person to run it. The operation is set up in a way that not just myself, but all of my chefs are very hands-on. We do 90% of the cooking, and then we have hourly employees who like turn it out for service. So pretty much everything that people eat was made by one of the chefs.
Excellent.
Pretty
excellent.
much. So
it's like a full-on group effort.
Yeah.
That's great. Very cool.
And I want to say, like, I'm lucky enough that my chair happens to sit in the window and look exactly at Dandelion. And I mean, the best burger in Philadelphia has become a bone of contention for a lot of people. It starts an argument in the shop almost, I wouldn't say almost daily, but at least almost weekly. I personally think it is the best burger in Philadelphia.
Thank you.
And up to probably 10 days ago, I didn't even know what it entailed. So Kareem told me, this isn't a regular burger. And I know it sounds dumb, but like Philadelphia is such a food city. We have such amazing food here. Steven Starr has probably the best restaurants in Philadelphia. I've never had a bad meal at the guy's restaurants. But Dandelion, it really does. It just sticks out. The decor, the ambiance, and the food, it's just an amazing place. So tell us about that burger, because I'm going on record. It's the best burger in Philadelphia.
He's sticking to it.
It is, yeah. I agree. I concur.
It's not your average burger. We work with Pat LaFrida, who's a butcher shop. They were in New York. Now they're in like North Jersey. The original chef created the blend. We call it cash. There's chuck, aged sirloin, hanger, and it's just a perfect blend. Short rib.
So you have four. So you got 4 meats going into one burger.
Oh, and I heard it's aged for how many days?
28
days.
Yeah.
Now
when Kareem told us that, we were like, "Who ages burger meat for 28 days?"
So what does that mean?
That means they leave it in the alley for 28 days.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I want to know that. Like,
that's a good question. It is.
Right? Because when people say aged meat, like, I don't really know what that means.
And it's very coveted, and it always makes it more expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
It changes the texture. It's held in like a controlled atmosphere, and the moisture control, and like it pulls out moisture. The meat changes the quality, the texture, the fat. Yeah, it gets a little bit more like funk to it. And people have started really pushing how far you can age things, and not just beef anymore. They're aging all types of meat, fish, like.
So it's just the meat itself. There isn't anything added to it. It's just
it's just held in a controlled. It's whole. The fat cap, everything's on there, and then it's butchered after.
That's awesome.
And then we grind it, and it's all blended together.
Well, you taught me something. So I can't age meat at home.
You could.
You can?
Not
a lot of work would go into it, but you could if you really.
You'd have to
dedicate a room.
Temperature control and all that.
That guest bedroom would have a completely different feel to it. The vibe would be changed.
Get a mini fridge and a humidifier
and research on that. I love that.
And on top of that, so Dandelion is white. So what is the theme of Dandelion? British pub?
Yeah, it's like a Steven Starr's homage to the traditional British pub, a sophisticated version of it. Classic British fare, coupled with some innovative dishes that we've also created over the years. We also specialize in cask beers, and I think our atmosphere is one of the biggest conceits that we have, is that it's just like a quirky atmosphere and very detailed oriented restaurant.
Wait, you have to tell people about this Civil War toilet paper. That might be... everyone knows about Steven Starr that lives in Philly, and if you don't, you should. You probably haven't left your house in 17, 18 years, but every one of his restaurants has so much effort. But I do feel like the Dandelion is an incredible example of the amount of work that goes into one of these Star restaurants.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of hidden gems.
Sure.
Over there.
It's Steven himself. He always wanted to be like a producer, like a movie producer, which he kind of translated that into his restaurants, which is why, if you think about it, with the exception of a few that are in different cities, they're all different concepts. And every concept has a stage, and you have to act the part, and that's how Steven wants it. He's a movie producer, you're his actors, or you're the actors, and that's how he wants it, and that's exactly why everything is so detail oriented for each concept.
What is the Civil War toilet paper? Why don't you tell everybody at home?
It's literally just different. It's different versions of toilet paper. You know, toilet paper were different. They weren't exactly the same paper roll that we use now. And he has different versions of them in like a little glass case going down toward the restroom. And I don't actually know where they came from. Maybe it was the designer. I don't know where he got them
personal
from.
Collection.
Personal collection. But they're very
insane.
old. They're very old versions of each toilet paper, different toilet paper rolls from the 1800s into the 1900s.
It's hidden in the back on the bottom bar
I was
downstairs.
going to say, I've never been to the
Everybody's got to go and
bathroom.
check it out.
The attention to detail is ridiculous. Look, food we know about. We're talking down to like the ambiance and toilet paper in the restaurant. It's freaking amazing. Look, we just scratched the surface with Dandelion. We got a lot more to talk about, and we're going to be back right after this word. Style Club Radio with Josh DeMarco, Steve Sanchez, and Michelle Miller.
Now back to Style Club Radio with Josh DeMarco, Steve Sanchez, and Michelle Miller.
Hey guys, we're back with Kareem McCafferty, the GM of Dandelion, my favorite restaurant in Philadelphia, and Liam Geoghegan, the executive chef.
We're never going to get another chef on here again. We're like, no.
But no, they have big shoes to fill, right? They have to be on Dandelion's level. We were talking about the burger, which I obviously love, and this Dandelion's ambiance and decor, and it's an amazing restaurant. But I think, there's a lot of cool things you guys really do offer. And like we said before, Philadelphia is such a really cool food city. Michelle and I get to travel a lot. Steve, you've been in LA. Food is huge in cities.
Huge.
And the one thing that Steven Starr has done so great is he has so many different options for restaurants that really make you feel like you're part of that atmosphere. Just talking about Dandelion, how great it is and all that.
And in addition to the food, I think that, in my experience, most of his, I haven't been to all of them, so I would say most.
I have.
But the ones I've been to, the service is phenomenal. And as well as, the food. I put on lots of weight.
It's an experience.
I know, Steve, this is not the LA diet, just in case you know.
Steve actually weighs 97 pounds when he moved here.
Right, exactly. No, I was -3.
But speaking of that, you guys have some really interesting things that you do on your menu that are very true to British cuisine. Why don't you guys tell us a little bit about that?
Sure.
Let's start with Bubbles and
Squeak.
So that's an interesting one.
That doesn't, it's
Bubbles and Squeak.
Yeah, okay.
And it'll transition into Sunday roast because it kind of will come full circle.
All right.
Bubble and Squeak is a way of it's an old time dish, and it's kind of a way of using leftovers. So the Sunday roast, which we serve, we get whole roasts, New York strip loin. We marinate them for 24 hours, and then we roast them whole, nice and rare, kind of like prime rib, and then slice it down. We serve it with beef fat roasted potatoes, honey glazed carrots, beef gravy, watercress salad.
Right.
But traditionally, everyone would eat that Sunday, and then you would chop up all the leftovers and then pack it into a cast iron pan, fire it up, and then it would get crispy, and the sound it made while it was cooking was bubbles and squeak. So it could be cabbage, it could be carrots, potatoes.
So it's kind of like a hash then.
Pretty
really.
much, yeah.
Okay, with just a really funny name.
Yep. But if you get the pan nice and hot, throw the veggies in, you can hear it making the noises, and that's where they claim that's where it comes from. But
I like that. And it's freaking delicious. I've had it.
We serve it at brunch time, a little bit more elevated with poached eggs and house-made steak sauce.
I will say too, traveling over to London and being in the UK, Sunday roast is a real thing. Every single pub on every corner in every neighborhood does Sunday roast, and I think it's so cool that you guys do it here. You don't offer it any other day, but Sunday it's
bank holidays.
Oh, and bank holidays, very true to form.
So Labor Day.
Oh, there you go. Coming up.
I saw it on the
This
website.
Monday.
Yeah, I saw it
Little
on the
Monday
website.
roast.
Yeah.
And Kareem, you guys also, we were talking about something, you also offer tea time. So you had said something really interesting earlier in the day, and I feel like every business owner would probably have this same kind of, there's times in a day where you're less busy, right? So
Sure.
how do you get people in your door in those
Sure.
times? And your answer is
Tea time.
tea time. So tell us about tea time.
It's not original to me, but it's a time frame between 3 and 5 p.m. where most restaurants are usually slow. You're in between lunch, you're in between dinner. Most people are resetting their restaurant for dinner service and they close. We continue to stay open, so we keep an abbreviated menu coupled with what we call our tea time menu. So tea time has different style of tiers. You can do a savory tier with little sandwiches. You can do a sweet tier with little tiny desserts, or you can do like a large one. We can do a 3-tier. It's called a royal occasion. It also comes with a pot of tea for four guests. And it's a way for people to kind of come in and enjoy some sort of celebration that's not your normal service.
Yeah.
And people get into it, and people dress up. People dress up like the Mad Hatter. People dress up in Old English style clothing. It's really is an occasion for some people. People book rooms months in advance to see to have tea time and to dress up and to enjoy that occasion with someone.
I was over there today during tea time, and I saw the most gorgeous mom and her two daughters.
Two little girls. Yeah,
yes, and they had like beautiful flower dresses, and it was just absolutely darling. But that is traditional tea time for the Brits, right? Are they like? I mean, it's not like you guys are fitting something in that's not true to form, as they say.
Just making it available here.
Like an after
tea sandwiches,
Yeah.
little sandwiches, and finger food.
Well, I want to talk about what I love on the menu.
Okay, Steve, break it down.
Well, there's a few things, but I'm obsessed with the deviled eggs.
Oh my God!
I love the steak and chips. Like I get it almost every single time. All the salads are fantastic when I'm trying to be healthy, but then I always end up getting something not healthy, which is fine. But the drinks, I was going to say, because we haven't really tapped into that, are really, really good. I think it's the best Bloody Mary I've had in Philly.
Ooh. And the best Negroni, to be honest.
Thank you.
Their Negroni is ridiculous.
Yeah, so
ridiculous.
Thank you very much.
The food is so good.
Well, Kareem, you have an affinity for beer, which I've learned, and so you guys have a really interesting beer philosophy on the menu. So can you explain a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So we try to stay local. That's the first step, and also to stay seasonal, and also keep a good grasp of European style beers and keep it in European classics. Like we keep Wells Bombardier on. That's a traditional English bitter ale that we have on. But it's all about seasonality and being able to change things up and not keeping the same things on, and staying with the current with the beer current and current trends, while also keeping our own individuality and not putting things on just because they're currently popular.
That's awesome. I mean, as the new GM on the best street in Philadelphia, 18th Street, shout out.
Never leave it.
I never, you will never see this man on 17th Street. But what are some of the things that you guys maybe are collaborating on together, or some of the visions that you have for this fall as you're coming into your new role here? Sure.
The fall for the Dandelion is it's our season. Fall Dandelion is fall season. With our menu changes and with the atmosphere inside the restaurant, with the fireplace, it's a very coveted area. It's a very coveted area, the fireplace. We also have Restaurant Week coming up. It's actually 2 weeks from September 15th through the 27th. We do 3-course meals for a very affordable price. And it brings a lot. I think it's $35. It's usually, it depends, depending on the year, but it's usually around 3 courses for $35. And we usually do like a cocktail special and some sort of wine special too. And it's a good way for people who have never tried the restaurant to come in and try some of our signature dishes and to a place where they wouldn't usually come.
I would recommend a reservation because let
Sure,
me tell you,
100%.
Restaurant Week is no joke. I can see Chef Liam's face. He's probably like, I'm going to put my track shoes back on, put my sweatpants on. Yeah,
it gets busy.
Very, very busy.
I have a question because the food's so amazing, but I also noticed that it's the style of the plating is also really cool and very nice and very appetizing. Is there any inspiration behind the style of the plating?
I mean, it's the first thing you see.
Right.
You see it first, so you want to make sure it looks nice and it's very presentable.
Yeah, because it's like specific. You guys have like those wood blocks, and then you put
slates.
the fries like in like the cup. It's like
The
very.
burger comes on that, Steve.
I know, but that's why do you think I mentioned that?
And there's even like a little cutout. I don't know what it would what would that be called? So the juice, I'm assuming, doesn't emote.
Beef moat.
Yeah, beef moat.
Right.
And then you can actually take the board and
Josh
there's
has
one
never
and you
said those
drink
two
it.
words together. Right.
That's actually what it's for.
Are you serious?
No.
I mean, maybe in the old British days it was.
Could be.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but it's also plated beautifully. So I just wanted to add that to everything we're talking about.
Well, just the decor in general. I love how the pieces of furniture are all mismatched and they feel so lived in. Meanwhile,
it's
they're
all
very.
from England also.
Oh, really?
Everything's actually authentic. Everything has been brought over, and
I never knew
Michelle,
that.
it's literally a perfect restaurant.
It is perfect.
Like
I do love
I
it.
watch, and by the way, we didn't even talk about this, and we're wrapping this up. But every single day, I watch at least 10, 15 to 35-year-old women take selfies in front of the front door. Dandelion is like the hottest.
Full-blown Instagram.
I see Evan in the
photo
background yesing it. It is probably the hottest corner. It's just everything about the place is freaking perfect. I mean, I don't know anywhere else in Philadelphia that.
Well,
gets
we're
this
going to
much
go there
attention.
right after we wrap up here and eat and drink some more.
Yes, but if you get a chance to go, please go to the dog room.
The dog bar.
The dog bar.
Sorry. Oops.
Dapper, I'm just going to whisper this. Dapper might have got some inspiration from the dog bar. The aesthetic is freaking beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Where can people go to find you guys? You guys have awesome social media and you post great things on there. Where can we go to follow you?
We have an Instagram page at the Dandelion Pub. We have a Facebook page as well, but I would usually stick to Instagram. We get a lot of update. We update on Facebook too, exactly at the same time. But for more formality, I would say to go through Instagram.
Go to the gram.
Liam, you have an Instagram page?
I do.
Give it to
It's
us.
LJG the Buck.
I like
LGT
it.
the Buck.
Yeah, that's
is
your
that
personal,
is that a
right?
private
Personal.
page?
No, it's not
Yeah, how
private.
about you,
I
Kareem? Where
stalked
can people
him.
go to follow you?
And on a happy note, you just had a baby, right?
Yeah, she just turned 1.
Yeah, so cute. I insta-stalked him.
Kareem _19143.
Awesome.
And guys, we're gonna end on this, right? It's the dandelion, and don't think of the weed. It might be spelled like the flower, but it is a dandelion. Very British. Didn't know that till about a month ago myself. It's hanging right in the front door.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for coming in and
Thanks for
visiting
having
us.
Yeah, guys.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Follow us on social media because we're going to do some behind the scenes with Chef Liam on our Instagram page at
Yum.
Style Club Radio.
Kareem and Liam, thank you so much for being here with us
Thank you for
today. I
having
really
us.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep. See you guys after this. Style Club Radio with Josh DeMarco, Steve Sanchez, and Michelle Miller.
This is Style Club Radio with Josh DeMarco, Steve Sanchez, and Michelle Miller.
Hi, everyone. I am excited to let you know that if you're listening to us, you could be watching us on Facebook at Style Club Radio or on Instagram. And after this, we're actually going to learn how to make fish and chips with Chef Liam at Dandelion Pub on our Instagram with our expert tip segment.
I cannot wait.
Oh, yeah.
And again, thank you, Kareem and Liam from Dandelion. You know, it's an amazing, amazing restaurant, 18th and Sansom Street. And we love it. Clearly, we love it. We just talked about how much we loved it.
We just said that we're going to book for Restaurant Week.
Right. Yeah, we were just talking about that.
And
we're not above a good discount for a 3-course meal, let me tell you.
And to quickly add to Restaurant Week, guys, make sure you book accordingly. I mean, Restaurant Week, it goes fast. It's stuff gets booked up really fast. It's super, super, super important that you book everything accordingly, right? Restaurant Week it's kind of like Philadelphians would like to call it amateur hour.
But it's great. I mean,
it's called amateur hour because everyone just comes there, and then it's not.
It's crazy, but I think for restaurants, it's an awesome opportunity to kind of highlight their menu to new restaurant goers and kind of like show you what they can do.
Right,
you know?
right. And
yeah.
it's like a lot of them do even like those tasting menus, right? So you get to like kind of
For
have
sure.
a full experience
Absolutely.
of what they represent. So yummy. All right, so should I just go right into my tip?
I mean,
I think you should. Why not?
Okay, all right.
I hope it has to do with like clothes fitting you because we've just seen at Dandelion.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. It's actually because I'm very inspired and excited that the humidity's kind of calmed down a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
And the weather's
Yes, me
slightly
too.
shifting. It's so beautiful. It's like what 70s, 80s, but like no humidity. It's perfect. Like breeze.
Reminds us of the West Coast.
Yes. Yes.
No humidity.
Exactly. Exactly. But so I one thing, because I feel like a lot of people are going to start pulling out their coats, and they've been away for like the summer, and I think a couple great things is if you just want to update your coat and you don't want to like go out and buy a whole new coat for the
They are
winter.
expensive, yeah.
They are expensive. An easy tip is just to change out the buttons. And it makes it look like super fresh or super new.
Hold on.
That is a great idea.
Right?
Actually.
Whoa. You just say just change out the buttons. I mean,
Yeah.
what about me? I can't sew.
Well, your dry cleaner can do it for you.
Yeah, you
though.
just pick a button. You can go to like 4th Street to the fabric row, what's left of it. And you just find some great buttons and you can have them stitch it on. Or,
That's a fabulous idea.
Yeah, and another fun thing that I'm actually going to do with one of my coats is you could go and buy like a really fun, funky print and line your coat with it. So when you open it or take it out, or the wind catches it, you see this really fun, like unique print inside.
You usually only see that in like really expensive suiting where you have like a really beautiful fabric on the inside.
Right.
That's a great
so you
idea.
just go buy something and
That's
it completely
tougher
updates.
than changing out a button, though.
No, but Steve, you say that, but I like a couple years ago, I got a great jacket from a thrift store, a Miu Miu jacket, right? Like a gem in a thrift store, and the lining, the silk lining was ripped, and for like $85, he relined the whole thing. Well, yeah, you might say $85, but that's also like a very expensive jacket that now just had a new inside that didn't exist.
For $85, that's cheaper than buying a whole new
way
coat.
cheaper than buying a whole
Especially
new coat.
if you can get a coat as well made as a Miu Miu from a thrift store.
Which you probably can. So I love that one.
And then the last part is if you are going to buy a new coat, and that's what your goal is you want something brand new, the fit, just really watch the shoulders because that can show whether it's ill-fitting or not. The ball of your shoulder should not stick out of the cap of the sleeve. Like that's something that because it does look a little too small, like from the like shoulder width.
Yeah.
So that should be something that you should pay attention to because everything else can change. You can shorten it, you can make it fitted through a tailor, you can do all that. But that's the most important. And it's harder to do that for a tailor.
Do you know what else you could do?
What's that?
Elbow patches.
Yes,
Elbow patches
absolutely.
would be a really
Michelle
easy
clearly is really thinking Dandelion right now because it is so British to put elbow patches on.
Just get your professor patches on, people.
We are just immersed in Dandelion. It sounds like there's a pub happening behind us. So let's go the boys at Dandelion.
But I really love your idea because it's about upcycling. It's about reusing something that exists. And I think, I'm all about, being greener. And I think if we're all able to use items or pieces for a longer amount of time, then that helps the environment. And it also helps highlight businesses that are making really well-constructed stuff.
Yeah, and also, too, rely on your tailors. As long as they're good, they if they're great and you trust them, they're going to know how to do things for you. Even like something like as simple as, not simple, but if you have a fur coat and maybe you don't wear it anymore, you could actually have that, put in as a lining in one of your coats that you love, as long as it's large enough.
I'm trying to be thinner, not puffier. I don't need a big inside
or you
my
could
jacket.
also just have them make a detachable collar for one of the coats you love.
But
Michelle,
you bring up a great point. You're talking about recycling and saving the environment. The rainforest is burning. All right, so we are in trouble.
I like
anything
how you
we can do.
leaped over the
Well, I had to
lungs of the
throw it in
earth.
there because it's like, look, everywhere you go, it's like this happened, that's happening. Anything you can do to recycle, repurpose, it's like start doing your part. We all need to do our part.
I agree with you.
And there's no need to keep buying when you can add a liner, add buttons, add patches, anything.
Well,
that's cool.
And that's the inspiration actually for my new collection, which is coming out soon. But I'm completely taking all either vintage or things that I'm completely repurposing them. It's nothing that I've actually I didn't buy the fabric and have it dyed and this and that. It's all already clothing. I'm tearing them apart and using whatever I find to create new garments.
Love it.
That's amazing. I'm excited to learn more about that because I do think we all have amazing closets. We all have things in our closets that could be rethought about. Instead of
Absolutely.
being tossed out, you could look at it again in a new way. And that's exciting because we're potentially trying to buy a new house, so I can't be shopping anymore.
No,
I gotta pinch all the pennies, pinch them all in a row.
But
But
that would be a fun project. I love doing
Yeah.
that. Like I go into people's closets and I repurpose things with them. Like they'll try things on for me. I tell them where to narrow them, shorten them, make them more fitted. Or it's a lot of fun. And they're like shocked how they could do these things in their closet and they're just by a little nip and tuck, how different and new they look.
you could do that with furniture as well. I mean, here at Dapper, we found a lot of old vintage pieces and we refinished them and changed their purpose. Like our bathroom vanity was a nightstand and now it's a vanity,
Yeah,
a lot of
amazing.
things to think about.
Anything we can do to not throw stuff away and to improve on it. So again, guys, thanks for joining us tonight. Big shout out to Kareem and Liam from Dandelion Pub. Just go there. If you haven't been to Dandelion,
My mouth is watering.
freaking go there.
We're going there right now if you want to meet us.
We're going there now. So from myself, Steve Alum, Michelle, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you guys next week. Have a great week and goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
This program is a paid commercial announcement and in no way represents the views of WPHT or its management.